Hello, one and all, and welcome to another episode of Baggers Chat. My name is Mitch Pattinson, and as always, we're joined by Ethan Daffy. And tonight, we are reviewing West Coast v Carlton at Optus Stadium. The final scores were Eagles 4 goals 10-34, Carlton 14 goals 15, 99 points with these. I'm laughing already about Daffy's reaction, but obviously it is a 65-point win. It feels like a bit of like quite a while ago now, because I mean we're obviously recording this at 10 o'clock at night. But David Boy, first things first, mate. How are you? And just give me your initial thoughts from that game, which hopefully gives us a bit of confidence back and potentially could see us in the 8.
Yeah, well, like I've been saying, that is the happiest I've felt after a win in a while. That's those wins where you wake up the next morning and go, "Fuck yeah!"
That was good. Yeah.
Yeah, it was us again. It was us. That was Carlton footy. Doesn't matter what the personnel is. Carlton footy is Carlton footy, and they showed it today with the personnel we had out. It's one of the best. Like, we've had some great interstate wins this year. You know, you look at Brisbane, you look at Port Adelaide breaking that hoodoo, and et cetera, et cetera. But that's one of the best ones. That is one of the best ones in terms of backs against the wall. It was more than backs against the wall. It was like heads against the wall. And you had, the media hopping on the back. We talk about the whole media hopping on the back, and they were on the back. They were saddling on our back the whole week, the media. And everyone's like, oh, we've got injuries, but can this team do it? Oh, but West Coast are in form. You can scratch that out, put a line through it. It's a W, and now we head into Marvel Stadium with confidence, off a performance that gives me more confidence than that North Melbourne win gives me. You know what I mean? Like, that was Carlton-esque, hunting the footy, and that's why I'm going to go to bed very happy tonight, Patto.
Yeah, it's actually a really good point, because after this game, I was thinking about if it was more of the opposition, but as you said, this game was different to North Melbourne. Like, yes, I think West Coast and North Melbourne are around the same kind of competition, I guess, when it comes to teams. But I think when I kind of looked at tonight, I'm like, as you said, the hunt. We haven't seen that since, I'll say it again, quarter time of GWS Giants. That was probably the last time that we've seen that hunt for the foot. And my question to you is, do you think the reason for so much ground ball gets, and I was looking here as well, our tackles inside forward 50 was 20 as well. And sometimes that's probably single figure. Like, I think I've seen it one time where it's like being 3 or 4.
Was it 4 last week?
I think it was 4 last week, yeah. But I know there was definitely I think it may have been Port. I think it may have been Port, and it was like 3 tackles. I'm like, that's nuts. But seeing 20, like, I don't know what the average is for every team, but I would love to see in that, like, 20 tackles inside 50. But the question is, do you think these stats of the ground ball gets and the hunt inside forward 50, do you think that would be due to us not having a genuine key forward down there? And with Harry Mackay potentially coming back in next week, and if we do make finals, Charlie Kerner will be available as well. What do you see happening there? Because I saw a big difference tonight with hunting the footy, like Richmond-esque, kind of.
Yes.
How did you see it?
I saw it straight up. I know they kicked that first goal or whatever, but I felt something. They were up for it early. And we haven't been up for it that early, you know what I mean, in games. I know the Collingwood game was actually a pretty good start. We didn't obviously finish off that greatly in terms of in front of goal, which our mentality, we just dropped off. But today we didn't drop off, whether they had a bit of momentum early or whatever. So, yeah, it's like you said, with the small ball kind of lineup, as they call it, with that Harry and Charlie, it gave me a bit of a different look on how we can roll with things, especially with the different, matchups. And we caused a bit of havoc with their defenders. They were just a bit all over the place on who they actually wanted to match up on. Because I feel like we're, like I said before we filmed it, with the midfield, but up forward, we can be a little bit predictable as well. I know that's, you got to be predictable when you got 2 superstars with Charlie and Harry, but I think outside of them two, like we aren't causing enough trouble with our one-on-one matchups the last 6, 7 weeks. And I think tonight, well, today we did. And you look at, Camp, even Kennedy's down there. Moya comes on, kicks a goal. Like it's just always was causing havoc. Corey Durden, we were talking during the game, like, obviously it's sad that he did his shoulder, but he was causing trouble for his direct opponent. They were, I know the Eagles haven't had a great year, whatever, but it was just the willingness to really beat your opponent. If everyone beats their opponent, what's going to happen, Pat? The scoreboard will work itself out. It will. I know it's a team defense and team offense, of course, in football, but if you're beating your opponent on a day, like it's going to make a huge impact on the game. And one key one is Brody Kemp kicks 4 goals and breaks open the game. They go, fuck. They don't have Charlie or Harry, but they've got another bloke coming from the defense, going up forward, taking grabs, and it opens it up. What happened? It opened it up for Owies and opened it up for other guys. So, yeah, fantastic win. And I loved, like you said, the hunt for the footy was just second to none. It was really, really good. And we haven't had that energy like that I think we almost ran out of legs in those last few weeks. You know what I mean? I think we almost need that mental and physical reset from the Hawks game. Was almost like, okay, that's it. The line in the sand, as they call it, and just get going and get back to who we are.
Mm. Do you think Brody Kemp plays forward next week and heading into finals if we do make it and Charlie and Harry are both available and they obviously will both be in the side? Do you think Brody Kemp will be alongside them?
Well, I think so, and I think it's a really, really good thing to see because he can always go back in a game. So he's almost like a utility. If there's something going wrong in defense or an injury, he can go back if he wants to go back. So I'd like to see him and Harry. I would really like to see that next weekend because I know obviously the Saints have got Wilkie and he was fantastic last night, by the way, and he's lost one-on-one all year. One.
Mm.
Um, but yeah, you got to cause issues for him. It's some way without Charlie. You know what I mean? You got to cause unpredictability, and with Harry in the lineup, gee, if we had him today with the ball moving inside 50, it could have been a hell of a lot more on the scoreboard. But yeah, I'm liking Brody Kemp, and I think you just got to roll with what works. To be honest, especially when the guy got confidence, keep him in that spot. Clearly, he was lacking confidence the last few weeks in defence, and that's because he's playing undersized. And you got Lewis Young now looking like he's in a bit of form. And we speak about Lewis Young a lot, whether it's on videos or off videos. But I think you just got to roll with it in terms of let's experiment the Kemp thing. Just experiment. I know it's tough to experiment in a do or die game next week, but why can't you? Why can't you? And with experiments today, why can't it work under the roof next week?
Mm. That's also one of the things that I'm kind of not worried about because, as you've said, it's a do or die, and we have to do something different. And tonight there was something different, and it was Brody Kemp going forward and kicking 4 goals with no other key forward down there. And you kind of look at the team lineup, and like Buddy Matt Kennedy was our key forward.
Yeah.
And you look at that, and that's that's obviously a very unpredictable forward line, but it's good that Brody Kemp can go forward and kick goals. And as you said, it's that utility type of if something's going wrong in the back line, if a key defender goes down in the back line, Brody Kemp can come back. He could actually be a really handy sub as well.
Yes.
Like into a final series, if we do make it once again, I think he could be a handy sub because you've said it then. He can play wherever. And also in his draft here and most of his junior football, he was actually a midfielder as well. So
Yeah.
he's well and truly that utility type. And I think he's done really well to develop himself, be that second key defender alongside Weeders. And then also, as you've mentioned as well, like he can go forward and execute in front of goal. Like it didn't look shaky. I think his first shot looked a little bit shaky, but he just needed that set shot. And then after that, he kind of went back and did his routine, and it was absolutely fantastic. So I thought it was really solid. But I guess once again that I'll ask is, I mean, like another question that I'll ask is with Charlie and Harry coming into this lineup, do you see the same sort of hunt for the footy? Because I think the two tools down there, it helps a lot, of course. Brody Kemp as well, if he is added into this forward line as a key forward as well, he could even be down there as to kind of play a forward role,
Yeah.
like as like a tagging role, and say if we play say if we play Brisbane and he goes to Harris Andrews, it could
Yep.
be like a tagging role.
Mm.
So how do you see this forward line? I mean, obviously, like it was one game, and Brody Kemp played a great game. There was obviously Matt Owies as well played a great game, but there's a few guys there like a Jesse Motlop who probably had the chance today to execute. Whether like there was a lot of ground ball gets, and Jesse Motlop, his shot probably was a game that suited Motlop, but he didn't execute. So do we take the risk of we had a hell of a lot of smalls around, and it did have a different look inside that forward 50. But when Harry and Charlie does come back, that could be a difference come finals. I mean, I don't know if I've asked a question there, but it's more like heading into finals. How do you want this forward structure to line up? Do you want us to be taller or smaller?
Yeah, it's I hate using the F word in terms of finals at the moment because we've still got to lock it up. But yeah,
If we make finals.
I think you've got to have as many dangerous threats up there as possible. And I think with a Kemp can actually bring Charlie up the ground a little bit. Because haven't we lacked that a little bit? That terms of we can't even have Harry and Charlie up the ground at points because that's really when we have kickouts. We can do that, and Kemp can be the guy down the line as well. So, yeah, I think if once they're both fit in the team, I think you got to give Kemp the go. You got to have some sort of point of difference if we want to have a crack at this thing this year, or have some sort of impact to win a final, or just make finals first of all, but win a final. You know, you need something different. So it's not a whole different thing. He's a defender who can take grabs, and now he's just finishing it off in terms of in front of goal. So he has that ability. And today I had this picture in my head of a finals last 5 minutes and Kemp takes a ripping mark. He's just that type of guy. I just feel like he's got that, you know what I mean? Like he's just got that ability. He's got that ability to just take it like a screamer. You know what I mean? In a big moment, or not just a screamer, but you know what I mean? Like today, the last mark he took in that last quarter or the third, his last goal, like gee whiz, like
Yeah.
no, he's got that in him. So yeah, I'd like to see all them three in, but obviously you got other guys like you said with Jesse, Owies, and yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how we fit. Also, like a Chincotta in. Like, what's our outlook? And are we tagging? Are we on or are we off? You know what I mean? Like, I think it depends. As also, I've been saying it all year on the opponent. Like, you look at St Kilda. Are you tagging in the middle against St Kilda? I'm not having a go at them, but they don't have a Lockie Neal. They don't have a Dacos. But when you play the Brisbane Lions in the first final, you go Chincotta, you go straight to Neal. So it's a situation based thing, and I don't think selection's ever a lock each week, and that's the good thing about the talent we have at our disposal, and more talent at our disposal with these young guys who've just been who were fantastic today in their first game.
Another way to explain Brody Kemp and the way that he plays his football is it is like a forward.
Yeah.
Like, he flies at the footy, and I've always said when he's been a defender, he's too attacking.
Yeah.
And you like to have that as a defender for a point of difference, but when he's your second defender, that's when it's a problem. I think if a Mitch McGovern wasn't in the side and you had Lewis Young as that second defender, and potentially you open up an avenue for Brody Kemp in the intercept role. But I've always said that I think Brody Kemp plays well alongside McGovern. But the past few weeks, I don't know whether it's been confidence or just the backline needed a change, something like that. Because as we kind of always say, you're not going to have the same team the whole year, and that's why you have a few different players that can come in and play a role. And that's when you get to this point of the season where, all right, we'll say like Adam Cherry, if he's fit to go next week, do you play him? Probably not. Because once again, you look at that and you're like, oh, do you take the risk? And it was the exact same last year with Matt Candy playing as a sub, but also Jack Silvani when he was fit. Vossi probably realised the forward line structure is suited better right now for how we're playing without you in the side. And that's why, like, over the preseason, that's when you sort out, like, what you're different. Because every single year, your game style changes. And this is why key players that come into the side. And then I'm looking at the injury list as well. Like Arazo Fantasia was a test this week. He can be another player that could come in. But for me, I don't think you take that risk
No.
quietly. But then I'm looking, I mean, like Jack Martin, I think he's a player that you probably almost have to take a risk. But also a guy like Ashton Moyer, who's playing the exact same role, he gets in for mine over Jack Martin.
Yes.
3 or 4 weeks ago, I would look at Jack Martin and be like, you have to play him, don't you? In front of 90,000 in a final, if we do make a final. But I don't think you play him because it's the exact same story last year where, look, you probably would be in like 17 other senior sides in the competition. But right now, you're not suited for our forward structure right now. And that's not anything to do with Jack Martin. I mean, maybe it is because he hasn't been able to get up for many games this season anyway. And you're like, what, you want to send him out in front of in a big final? That's a worry. Then what happens if he gets 10 minutes into the first quarter, hamstring, bang, sub, and then you bring in Ashton Moyer? Like, I think Ashton Moyer provides that little bit more. And we're saying this about one game. Like, it's one game, but what I think we're both on the same page about is we liked what we saw today. And the way that we played, it was different. It was a hell of a lot different to what we've seen. But the question is this a new brand of football or is this the football that we used to know? Because, I mean, round 15, round 16, this was the stats we were seeing where we had 20 tackles inside 50 and it was the hunt. But that was with Charlie and Harry in the forward 50 alongside Arazo Fantasia. There were a few guys there and obviously this forward line is a hell of a lot different now. But do you think it is a new brand of football that Vossi has worked out throughout the week to suit for this lineup this week? Because obviously we have been absolutely like smashed with injuries, but it just seems like a new brand of football. Do you see the same thing a little bit?
Yeah, I guess. I just feel like I just had that feeling today, the way we were playing was that like that 6-7 week stretch. We were hunting every single time, any contest. We were hunting, and like I said in the preview, the last few weeks we've been relying on these 50-50 contests, and we haven't lived up to the pressure. So what happens, Patto? You lose the game when you're relying on contest and will and hunt for the footy. And you got to give the coaches hats off to be able to have that team play the way they did today, like we played with personnel, like with the personnel we had 6 weeks ago, without those guys in the team. Like, you got Sarge, you got Cherry, you got Kerno, you got Doherty, you got Silvani, you got Jordan Boyd is not even in the team. Like, the guys who are mainstay players in this team. So it's what I like about it is it's system. It is system. That is how you win premierships. You do not win. Like, of course, you need the personnel. You need the stars, and we've got the A graders. That is not my worry. We have got plenty of them. We've got A graders coming out of our ass, right? A graders coming out of our ass. It's about the buy-in of the system from the last player selected to the first player selected every week. Whether it's Cripps, Cooper Lord, doesn't matter. There should not be a gap in how every single player knows how we want to play and how the coaches want them to play. Because today they were linked, weren't they? They were connected off the ball, with the ball. That is just, it was just fantastic to see, because seeing guys who played VFL all year be able to buy in at AFL level, like we spoke about the stark difference of levels compared to AFL and VFL. I'm not shaming VFL because it's a great level, but AFL level's a big step up, and they did not look lost defensively or attackingly. Offensively, the guys who came to the side, and that includes Lewis Young, who's been out for a while. He didn't look lost out there, so it was really good to see.
How did you find Mark Pitnet's performance tonight?
Very good. He's taking grabs. He looked really mobile. We were using him a bit more in leading up. He was leading up at the footy more rather than sitting on top of his head, where he might have an opponent that has a better leap. There's like against Darcy Cameron a few weeks ago of Collingwood. That's just what the physical attributes are different. So make sure you use his strength. Hit it out in front of him. No one's getting around him. Hit it in front of him, and he's taking grabs and playing on. And big he's obviously he's obviously a bit of a cult hero, the big fella. But no, he was really good. And like I've said, his mobility has improved the last few years, which is great. And I'd love to know the fitness status of Tom DeConing. Do we bite the bullet and hold off one more week so he gets 2 weeks off and he would be guaranteed first week of finals? Actually, that is the question to you, Patto. I'm gonna throw the question to you. If he's fit this week, TDK, there's the answer.
No. And I'm looking at the injury list. So this is updated on the 13th of August, and what is the 18th today? He was 3 to 4 weeks.
Yeah, so probably the first final at best.
Yeah. I just want to do a quick thing with you, Duff, and it's just go through some players that would be in contention to come into this side. And since we are talking about the bonds with what suits this side right now and heading into hopefully a final series if we do make it, we need to speak about players who is absolute locks to come in, but also players who maybe you don't hold off a little bit and say, like, it might be a Matt Kennedy. I mean, I know that Matt Kennedy played a vital role last year in the semi-final because of Jack Martin's injury, but in the elimination final, I don't think he was playing in the elimination final by memory. Because I think Ollie Hollands was the sub by memory.
Yeah, I'm trying to think.
Yeah, that might be wrong actually.
I think he might have missed.
Yeah, but I just want to run through some players that I will ask if you will bring them. So if they're fit to go week 1 of finals, I'm not saying next week, but week 1 of finals, because there's a few players here that the timeline kind of states that they could be available for week 1 of finals if we do make it. But once again, it's down to how you see the importance of these players, but also what role they're taking as well. So I'll probably ask maybe 4 or 5 players, because I think on the injury list, there's 5 players that I'm looking at, and I'm like, do you take that risk? So the first player I asked, Jordan Boyd, who's obviously is recovering from an adductor injury, 3 to 6 weeks. That's quite an unusual timeline, 3 to 6 weeks. Would you say no?
I don't think he'll be right. Based on how he looked last week, I don't think he's going to be back for a while.
If he's fit, though. If he's fit and ready to go. So then this is all to do with if he is fit week 1 of finals, do you play him?
I think he almost battles for a spot with Chincotta.
Spot on.
That's my call. I think it's him or on Chincotta. And it really depends on Chincotta's role. I just I hate sacrificing the midfield role. So it's like, do you want... Chincotta was good today, I thought. So, yeah, it's an interesting one, isn't it? It's how we want to play out of our back half. Do we want the ball user or do we want the hard nut? Sometimes the hard nut you don't mind in a final. And he played really well in those finals, Chincotta. So I can't say yes or no, but it's close. Like I would be happy either way. I know that's sitting on the fence, but it's really depending on the situation of the game. Against the Lions, you might need a ball user to be out because their scoring ability is high. So you might need to be able to attack a little bit more. You know what I mean? Rather than a lockdown, we might not be able to lock them down under 80 points, right? But we might be able to bring in a guy like Boyd who can provide that attacking run. You know what I mean? Like just another ball user can get creating scoring chains, etc.
Adam Chera, hamstring injury. Week 1 of finals, he's available and ready to go. If he is, do you play him?
No. I'm not saying he's got the ability, mate, but history shows this year we haven't won many games with him. Not blaming him, but if we win next weekend if we win next weekend, for example, and the midfield's flying, why change it? Why change? I don't care who it is in the side. Kennedy's been better than him this year.
Yep.
Maybe we go, fuck, Ches, just get your body right and be ready to play in a final. But if you're not picked, you're not picked.
Yeah.
And like I said a couple of weeks ago, VFL ended today. They're not going to be able to play any games. They'll only play probably scratch matches against, other finals teams. That's not proper. You're not going to be able to get a proper hit out in. So it's these guys who are out of the side, like the names you're listing, might find it hard to get back in. Obviously, apart from the names like Sard and etc., like Kerno and Mackay, obviously they're going to play. But those guys who were on the edge of, oh, do we haven't seen him play a full game at VFL level, or you know what I mean? So yeah, Chair is a very interesting one.
Yes or no?
No.
No? Okay, cool.
No.
I completely agree. I think you can't. And today, did you see as well the change in that midfield where we threw a few players in there, whether it was a Cooper Lord or even Elijah Hollins who played a little bit more on the ball as well? Did you like that?
Yeah. Yeah. Because you're always going to have guys who are fresh in there when you keep rolling bodies in. Because like we've both been saying, our Hunt and that were great, but it's because we kept having different guys around the ball. And it was just a fresh. Obviously, you got Cripps and Walsh who were great today, but it's that hunt for the footy. And if you're just rolling with the same 4 or 5 guys, and we've seen the last 6 weeks, we're rolling with the same midfield. You go, oh, just put someone in there. Doesn't really matter who it is, Patto. Sometimes you look at it in a final. I think last year they had Collingwood. I hate talking about those dickheads, but I think they threw Sidebottom in the middle in the last. Remember that they put him in like the last
Mm,
5 or 6 minutes. I remember watching it, going, "The hell!" And then
mm.
it works because he was just maybe being the fresher guy, or he was on. He was on. So it's a matter of situation in the midfield and even around the ground. It's a good thing to have.
Orazio Fantasia calf.
Ugh, God. He's gonna find it hard to get in. Um, Williams isn't on the official injury list. He's got a cramp, so he'll probably be playing next week or in the finals, and he probably gives us a little bit more ahead of the ball. I'm not saying Fantasia doesn't, but I'd probably back Williams in a little bit more in a fast-paced final against the Lions if we do. Clear words, if we do play in a final. So um, that's a no from me.
Yeah.
Just because he hasn't played enough games in the last few weeks. That's just what it is.
Mm. Caleb Marchbank.
Oh, that's the hardest no I've ever had in my life. I don't think he's given us anything since coming back.
So why do you think? So with the mentality of Brody Kemp is playing that forward role, next week we see Lewis Young completely shit the bed alongside Jacob Waring. I want to see Lewis Young in that side because he was
Yeah.
really good tonight. But where an opportunity opens where potentially Caleb Marchbank could be up for selection, would you play him week 1 of finals?
Can't play him.
Yeah.
I can't play him. I've lost a little bit of not trust. It just doesn't do it for me at the moment, Pato. And we talk about Lewis Young, but has Marchbank warranted? You got to say, I'd say Lewis Young has probably had a few more credits the last few years. But he played the first 4 weeks, we didn't lose a game. He played in Brisbane without Wiedering.
100%.
I think that's enough credit for mine to have Young. I know if he shits the bed next week, but you probably got to almost hold him in the team. Danaher, he would. It's situation based for me, and if I'm not ruling these guys out, by the way, people who are listening, but it's just if they do play, I'm happy enough with the side. I hate guys who come in who just haven't had that continuity, but it's up to the coaches in the end, Pato. We're not the ones getting paid.
Yeah, exactly right. But I mean, this is the last one, and then I won't touch on Sard, Mackay, Kerno, or Tom Niconin because I think they're obviously will come straight back in. But
Yeah.
the last player we've mentioned him once already, Jack Martin, hamstring injury, 1 or 2 weeks. You look at that, and he could be a test this week. Ready to go. Week 1 of finals. There's an opportunity opening in that forward line for a guy like Jack Martin. Do you play him? It's the exact same like Caleb Marchbank, isn't it? Probably a little bit more.
He's better. He's
yeah,
better.
Yeah.
At least he proved it last year. Probably the back end to a little bit, I guess. But like I agreed with your point you said before. You can't be throwing. Imagine we just make a final, and the first 10 minutes we use our sub, and then the end of the game we run out of legs, and you go, "Why do we run out of legs?" Oh, because Jack Martin did his fucking hammy again. And I don't want to be sitting there at the Gabba going, at the Gabba, at the Gabba, at the Gabba again. But no, yeah, like I completely agree with your point, and that's why I'll say no.
Yeah.
At the moment, we just can't afford. You cannot afford in these big games. Last week it cost us. He, in Jack Martin fashion, he hurt himself and he took a teammate with him and ended Fog's season. So, in an unbelievable clash, a bump that I could not believe what I was witnessing at the time. So, yeah, it's a hard no from me. But if you go, I know we're looking far ahead. I don't think it's going to be pretty hard to get there. But like a prelim or something like that, and you go, fuck, maybe one of these half forwards are a little bit down. You might need to bite the bullet and go, fuck. But then again, your point comes up again. It's just, he's good enough. He win your game off his own boot. There's no issue with that. But can he last 120 minutes? I can't trust that. I cannot trust that at the moment.
That's the one thing that I will strongly say no to is
Yes.
getting into a semi or a prelim. If there's no injuries, do not make the change. If you're finding a way to win a final, you cannot make a change.
Yep.
And did we bring in Jack Martin after his suspension?
Yes, and he kicked a couple in the prelim.
Right, so we brought him straight back in.
Yeah, because he had continuity at the time with his body. Because the semi got reported. It wasn't an injury, so
Elimination.
yeah, yes.
Yeah.
Yes. So
we missed the semi. Yeah.
Yeah, so it wasn't an injury issue. And I think he played the last 8-9 weeks. So, but he hasn't got that this year.
Yeah.
He hasn't got enough games behind him for me. So I completely agree with your point. But yeah.
So he isn't a player that in your mind is the player that you would risk come finals time. He wouldn't be that player.
Out of those 5, he would be, but I wouldn't risk him. He'd be at the top of the list, but very close. Very close. Because you got to just trust, I guess, the fitness staff, which I'm not sure we can trust at the moment. But if he gets picked, then I'll be happy with that. But no, there's always that lingering in the back of my mind going, fuck, first 5 minutes of the prelim and he pops a calf.
Yeah, no, exactly right. So let's just try and stick once again onto this game, Daffy Boy. I thought that was kind of a good segue to then lead us back into the game, and obviously the injuries that was coming out of today's clash. Another player there who, if he didn't get injured, he probably would have been playing next week. And if we do make a final series and he performed the same way next week, he probably would have been playing almost. So obviously Corey Durden with his shoulder injury, extremely unlucky to see that. He obviously had the 2 shoulders strapped, and seeing him hurt once again, it's just so unlucky. And I think you almost have to say to him, look, like take the chance now to go into surgery. Like, yes, he might be a chance to play next week, or I don't think he will be a chance to play next week, but potentially week 1 of finals. I don't think you risk it. I think a guy, would you disagree?
I think at this stage, with the injuries we've got, it's hard to rule out any players that actually have the ability to come back. So I just, you know what I mean? Not saying I agree with your point, but I think if it gets to week 1 or someone goes down in week 1 or their form's a little bit low and he's there available, I just want as many players available. That's how I look at it. You know what I mean? So I completely agree with your point, but it's just if it was a situation where we were very fit and our injury list was fine, I'd completely agree with the point where have the surgery now, get right for first training session in December. But we just need that availability, don't we? We just need someone. Just in case. It's a break in case of emergency type player, Corey Durden, and he can perform. He can perform.
Would a Rosa Fantasia not be that player?
It's just he can be that player ahead of him. I'm just saying in case, because you know our fucking luck.
Yeah.
Nothing is guaranteed. Like you look at Hawthorn today, Will Day obviously just avoided a collarbone. Lucky he avoided it. He'll be back for finals. Lucky for them because that looked very grim. So I know it's not Hawk chat, but you know you don't want to see the good players out. So Like in that case, nothing is guaranteed. You just don't know who's going to go down next or who's going to be. I don't know. But yeah, for me, just if he has an ability to just be fit, just keep him training, keep him going, and then if he gets picked, he gets picked, or if he doesn't, so be it.
Yeah, no, exactly right. And then also another player who we thought was quite a worry, but it turns out that the reporters, I don't know if they did their job correctly. I've got to shit on them because we don't know what was said from
Yeah.
actually putting it onto the TV or not. But the report
Yeah.
was initially a lower back injury for Zach Williams, and we were like, oh, that's not too bad. But then about 5 minutes later, we hear, oh, it's actually an update. We've got a confirmation from the club. It's Zach Williams with a hamstring injury. I'm like, here we go. Here we go again. It's Zach Williams with another hamstring injury. But then probably about 10 to 12 minutes later, I hear, oh, it's just cramp. So that's what I'm saying. I think you kind of need to read the room a little bit of it's a player that has been under an injury cloud for almost his whole career, and if not his whole career at the Carlton Football Club. And there's been a hell of a lot of injuries, especially with Andrew Russell. I mean, leaving the club, there's like if this was another injury coming out of the club, that's another talking point. That would be another story come. I mean, for all the shows like AFL 360, First well, would be all of these shows would be speaking about this once again. But apparently it's just cramp. And this isn't confirmed or anything like with what we're hearing.
Yeah, I think he's right.
I think he's right as well. I think he's absolutely right. But if it's a cramp in the hamstring, that's another thing that you have to look at where like he's obviously had hell of a lot of hamstring injuries recently. I don't know if that would be. I've had cramps in the hamstring and they aren't too fun, but it's just an interesting point on that where I think you probably need to read the room a little bit of don't put it out there, especially with a guy like Zach Williams with a hamstring injury, which could have been season over.
Yeah.
Now it seems like he's all good to go. But those two injuries, I know that we've touched on Corey Dern a bit, Daffy Boy, but also Zach Williams. Your thoughts on his cramp or even if it is an injury, hopefully it's not too bad. But your thoughts on that, and do you think Zach Williams will be playing in the half forward next week?
Yeah, it's an interesting one with Williams, like you said. The obviously, I think the actual issue was the back. He got a massive knee to the back. It's like
Yeah.
a lower back. It just looked like a corky, like a genuine. You know, when he was laying there for a while there, it looked like he'd been shot from the sniper of level 3. But no, he just looked in pain. I was like, okay. I was like, oh, it's just just those collision based usually, which is a good sign for guys like Williams, because obviously a lot of his stuff is non-contact, whether it was the Achilles in 2022 or whatever, the hammies, and obviously did his knee last year as well. So it's been through a fair bit, that bloke. But yeah, hopefully he's raring to go, because I feel like under the roof, he's had some good games at Marvel. He has had some good games at Marvel, and he only came back last week. So he's missed obviously those last kind of 6 weeks of utter shit from our team. But and obviously Corey Durden was just a shame because he was playing really well. I think he had 10 touches halfway through the second quarter. So that was good to see. But yeah, it's I guess it's not horrible, but not great in terms of Corey Durden.
Yeah. So he actually ended the game with 14 touches, 1 goal. Like he just had that bit of the flea of 2022 when he kind of had that opportunity alongside Matt Owies and I think it was Zach Fisher as well. No, and we come back up a long way from 2022 round 1, but seeing him have that confidence again of the trying to go up the ground and get the footy. Also, I think there was one moment when he kicked it to Newey, and then I think he then wanted the 1-2 back. It's good seeing that because you kind of always want the ball in your hands, and he's a good ball user as well.
Yes, he is.
So he kind of does play a bit like Arazo Fantasia when he does get the footy. His ball use inside 50. He's got that bullet in him. I think he can really cut those angles and then say like if Harry McKay, like it's. I mean, I know that it's a big comparison, but it's kind of like a fair way off. Mark Murphy is the guy that just a touch, like it was just all around touch. It wasn't about a bullet inside forward 50. He could hit a bullet, of course, but it was also the touch inside forward 50 where he would find the space and he would hit up Harry Mackay or Charlie Curnow or even back then Levi Casbolt on the lead, Daffy Boy. But it's just small things like that where I think you need players like that to kind of isolate that forward 50 because you need those options. And if we do decide to potentially play Brody Kemp as that third tall in that Jack Silvani role, if there is a role after Sauce, that's that role that I'll kind of want Brody Kemp to play. Like, it's unbelievable after one game he's kicked 4 goals against West Coast, but I think he has to play in that role. And it doesn't matter if Harry and Charlie are back next week. I don't think Charlie will be back next week, but we've obviously touched on Harry Mackay potentially being back. Come final time, if we do make it once again, we've mentioned it a few times, I think Brody Kemp has to be that third tall. And it gives us a different look because once again, I just think I saw a few times in that first or second quarter where we were kind of bombing it in and we were expecting a Harry or Charlie to fight the footy, but they aren't down there. So they then lowered the eyes, didn't they? So how do you think that was a coaching call at quarter time? But also another thing is we've been saying this for 6 weeks where we're always continuously bombing it in. So do you think this is something that they've been looking at for the past 6 weeks where we can't be continuously bombing it into Charlie and Harry because it gets predictable? But today, since we actually do not have that option where Harry Mackay and Charlie Curnow is actually excluded from that conversation and you have to look at a Matt Kenny or a Brody Kemp down forward, do you think that was a coaching call trying to lower the eyes? And did you like that role, the overall game style today?
Yeah, it was much how when we play well, we play that way, don't we?
Yeah.
That less, of course, there's times where you got to slap it on the boot. There's contests and clearances, etc. I'm fine with that, but when you have the time, I don't want to be seeing like people bag Charlie and Harry at some games, but they're the service. Like I said in the review last week, imagine Sam Mitchell and his side imagine Charlie and Harry with the service, especially today, that first quarter. Their service they gave their forwards was amazing. So, and that's what we started to do today. And like you said with Corey Durden, I thought that was the biggest part of his game today. Just being out that ability to find that space, kick it out in front of your forward. It doesn't matter who the forward is. They will take the mark. So, obviously it's a coaching thing. Obviously they probably reiterated it throughout the week and the review and, the last 6 weeks probably been telling the boys to just lower the eyes or, just not take that time. Because I feel like we have taken that time in weeks, but we've taken our time and then butchered the footy or missed targets. So, I really like that ball movement ahead of the ball. And if we have Harry this week with that ball movement, Kalamuki will be losing his second one-on-one of the year.
Oh gosh. But David Boyd, before we move on to our bagger of the game votes, I've just got one more question for you. And it's about the midfield. Something that we really saw today. And I think it was kind of started, and I think all of the inside 50s that we had was kind of off Mark Pitner being that soft. Like the star of it. And he was really good today. And last week he had a big reality check and he was very poor last week. But it was good for him to this week. I know that it wasn't against a great ruckman, but it doesn't matter. He still did it at AFL level and he dominated. Like, if I look at his stats quickly, he had, if I can actually go to the hitouts, he had 32 touches, 20 disposals, man.
Yeah, fuck. Yeah.
He had a hell of a lot of the footy. And of course, four tackles as well. So I think overall that was a good starter for Mark Pitner. And that's kind of like Tom DeConning stats, isn't it? You got to look at that and be like, well, if Mark Pitner wasn't there and Tom DeConning, I wouldn't really argue because that's kind of what a Tom DeConning would produce each and every week. And if Mark Pitner's getting 20 disposals, that's pretty bloody good. But also, we can touch on Patrick Cripps, man. My God, I think he will win the Brownlow by the Flemington straight, mate. But just quietly. But also George Hewitt, 35 disposals, 10 tackles. Nuts. But also Elijah Hollands having that midfield role. But also the half-back as well. He played a bit back. I don't know if you saw that. It wasn't really back, but it was more like he was a midfielder behind the ball. It was kind of that role. But also an Ollie Hollands who did well, Matt Kennedy, Sam Walsh. Once again, Sam Walsh is doing solid enough. He's still ticking. Better today. He was better today. But Whether that's down to the opposition, I don't know. But I'm looking at it as focusing on ourselves. And Sam Walsh was better today. But also the guy Jackson Binns kicking his first goal, and having his first game of senior football, and him producing a lot. And probably the last one that I'll mention is obviously Cooper Lord. He played a very good debut game. But Daff, your thoughts on the midfield, and if you want to touch on those players, but also if there's anyone else in there, whether you can maybe mention a Jack Carroll as well. What were your thoughts on the midfield and how important were they today?
Yeah, they were big. I think the most important part of AFL football is winning from the source, and the source is the midfield and the stoppage game and your clearance. If you're not halving the contest or winning it, you could almost wave your game goodbye unless you're that good transition-wise, which we have been this year. It's hard to win games when you're getting second looks at it, isn't it? When you're starting your chains every time from half back, or in really defensive positions. So that's what we did really well today. I think that second quarter kind of onslaught. I saw a stat up there and it made me go, wow, like I just forgot what the stat was. Might have been clearances or something. It was some sort of clearances or stoppage clearances. I was like, gee whiz, like those numbers we haven't seen in weeks. And like you said, it's not about the opposition. And I think that's the same case for every single week. Like, even if we play a top team like Sydney, I think whether we win or lose is on us at points. If we're up to it, we can beat anyone. We can beat anyone on our day. And when we're shit, we can lose to anyone. So, yeah, midfield was really good. And, obviously Cripper. Oh, Jesus. It's actually getting a bit stupid at this point. Like, it's his best season by a mile. 2022 was great, but it's different gravy, mate. It is different gravy this year, and he's just he's doesn't seem like he's over trying like he used to try and get us over the line as well, which I love. But then you look at the stats, or you look at the impact he has, you go, fuck, he just gets it. And he was on the outside a few times today.
Yeah.
Out of stoppages, they were spreading today, and not just him. Everyone was spreading. Like Hawthorn was spreading against us last week, and we wanted to keep it in tight, and they were in tight with us. We lose the ball, and what happens? They spread, and we're gone. We're still in here. But today, we were in there fighting and hunting for the ball. And this is all the midfielders fighting and hunting at the source, and then when we get it, we're on the outside. It doesn't matter who it is, whether it's an inside mid like Cripps, who was on the outside plenty of times. Ollie Hollands, Akers, who cares who's out there? It's an ability to have someone that outlet pass to go hands out, or whether it's hands out or a little 15-meter 45 to get that space, then inside 50. And it goes to your point, Patto, of those entries that from the source, you find a way to get space out of the source where you spread and you go, fuck, how does Cripps have this much space? Well, he's spreading out of the contest. He has time to hit someone up. And Bob's your uncle, Patto. And it's really, really good. And it was good to see, obviously, Cooper Lord. He's going to be a good player, I think, for Carlton. He's got the body as well. Like he looks ready. You know what I mean? He looks ready for the physicality. So, if it comes to finals time, we go, fuck, we need someone in there. I'm not going to be against it. And, Jack Carroll was solid today. We can trust Carroll to get the job done, I think. And, obviously Walsh was better today. Matt Kennedy's superb. He has to be in the best 22, whether it's at half forward, midfield. I don't care. Has to be in there. He is so good. He is a brilliant footballer. Matt Kennedy, and obviously your boy, like you said, George fucking Hewitt. He was phenomenal today. And obviously, Binzi kicked that goal at the end. He looks like he's up to it at AFL level too. So that's good. And obviously, he's not really a midfielder, but obviously, Ashton Moyer's looking very, very nice. And he's got that ability to play high up the ground, which is good too. And he's got that ability on both feet. He can kick on either foot. He doesn't have a preferred foot. So, and obviously, he kicked a Cristiano Ronaldo bicycle kick. It's not a bad fit. That'll be the goal of year nomination, I reckon. 15 metres out, kicks it over his head. Oh, gee whiz. And also, quickly shout out to the people who went to that game today. I know you would have been a little bit nervous, but I think there was a photo of Joe from the Almost Blues Brothers. I saw he posted on Insta before, and he was on TV, and he's just got this massive grin on his face, and he posts my mood right now, and I was like, that's fantastic. So that's everyone's mood at the moment.
Yeah, it's just like the Carlton confidence is back, mate. We just beat the West Coast Eagles by 65 points last year. We were saying the West Coast Eagles is a fucking VFL team. And now the Carlton confidence is back, mate. We're heading into the Saints
Yep.
next week, and we'll probably lose by 10 points to the Saints. And season over. No, I'm kidding. But it's great to see, and the Carlton confidence is well and truly back. But
Yep.
you mentioned about the clearances, and I'm just going to touch on a few stats and whether of some of these ones come to your mind. But these are quite dominant to a stretch. So normal clearances 32 to 44 in Carlton's favour. Centre clearances 6 to 11 in Carlton's favour, and then stoppage clearances 26 to 33 once again in Carlton's favour. So those three stats is massive. I think that's a dominant midfield performance, and well and truly we needed a response this week, and it was good to see that. It was good to see a bit of a difference. There wasn't a hell of a lot that changed because at the end of the day, we're still a solid football team, even though that we lost the past few games. We're still a solid football team. We should realistically be a top 8 side. And I'm also looking here as well. Like Mark's inside 50, 15 to 6.
Yeah. Yep. Without Harry and Charlie.
With Brody Kemp as our key forward.
You're giving it easier options. There's easier marks. They're not all contested. We don't have to take contested marks if our ball use is good. Hit them out on a lead. And even those Kemp ones that were contested, they were still out in front of him. So we had the ability to launch at it.
You know, exactly right. But, Duff, it's so much easier doing a review episode when it's a win. So much easier. But let's now move on to our last segment of the night. And it's obviously the bagger of the game votes. So the people who don't know what this is, we go through bagger of the game votes, which is obviously 3, 2, 1. So 3 for the best player today, 2 votes for the second best player, and 1 vote for the third best player. Exactly how the Brownlow vote system works. So, Duff, your 3, 2, 1. It's tough because there's a hell of a lot of players that performed today. What's your votes kind of looking like?
Yeah, it's harder in a win, I think. It's easier in a loss because there's less players to select from. There's going to be names that I miss here. I'm sure there's names that you're going to miss in this top 3. So nothing against those players, but I think you have to give this guy a vote. It's Brody Kemp. He broke open the game ahead of the ball. I know there was obviously others. I thought Owies was fantastic, which is obviously another notable name, absentee from the votes. But Kempy, it could be my first vote for Kempy this year. I'd like to look back on it after this video. There might be a couple of votes, but kicks 4. What more can you ask? Took grabs, presented high up the ground when he needed to. It was just perfect. It was a good forwards game for a guy who hasn't played up forward at all. So he's my 1, and this is the easy part. Number 2, George Hewitt, and he's just doing George Hewitt things at the moment. It's good to see he's like last year. I felt like he was very injury interrupted. Remember he broke his hand. He was having issues with that. He still played well, but he didn't have the continuity he's had this year. So it's good to see him playing well and at the back end of the year as well. So, and my final one, I think he's had the 3 every week this year almost. Maybe I reckon Harry was leading in the first 3 weeks because the Brizzy game, the Richmond game, he was really good. And who was round 3?
That was our bye. Then round 4 was Freo, I think.
No, we did round 1.
North, sorry.
Oh yeah, he kicked 5, I think. So, so I think he would have had the lead. But Ripper's obviously made his case for the Bagger of the Year award, and he's got another 3 votes, and I think he would have got the 3 in the Brownlow. And it's a really good sign when blokes are getting votes late. When a bloke is getting votes late in the year and he's still getting them, hopefully he takes out the Charles Brownlow.
Yeah, because I just went back. So obviously round 2 was our bye. I don't know why I said 3. Round 2 was our bye. And round 3, North and Harry kicks 5. Like,
Yeah.
it's nuts. But you also look at it, Cripper still gets 28 and 1 goal.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, you kind of look at that and you're like, oh God, like we've got some pretty good players, don't we? We've got some pretty good players, but um, my bagger of the game votes now. I will be honest, I had the exact same three as you, but after you saying Brody Kemp as the one, I'm going to change it up just a little bit and just had a look at his stats once again. So if I go back onto the stats, obviously, so 23 touches, 2 goals,
Oh, yeah.
4 tackles.
Yeah.
I think we all know who I'm speaking about. It's Matt Kennedy.
Yeah. Yeah.
He's doing things that you have mentioned where he can play midfield, he can play forward, and we kind of said last week, like, you need to play this guy in the midfield.
Yeah.
But he's playing as that half forward player, probably in that Elijah Hollins role, let's be real, where he's playing more as that half forward, but he's probably playing more 75-25, obviously, in favor of the forward. But I like him playing in that half forward flank, and then it opens up other avenues for that midfield. And also, if you need to have a guy like Matt Kennedy roll through the midfield, you can put him through there, and you're happy as a daisy. So there's small things like that I look at with these votes, and I think Matt Kennedy doing 23, having 23 touches, 2 goals, that's just unbelievable. But yeah, obviously 2 votes for George Hewitt and 3 votes for Patrick Cripps. My God, I would love to see how many votes he would get at the end of the year. Not even Brownlow votes, but also bagger of the game votes. Unbelievable. So I think he's well and truly locked up the inaugural bagger of the game votes to boy. But yeah, I mean, it's just so great seeing the captain of the football club performing each and every week. And as you said, it doesn't seem like he is doing it all. It just seems like if you other players coming. I mean, I know that 2018, 2019, he had like a Sam Kerridge and had a guy like Gene Lamb, and 2019 you had like year one Sam Walsh.
Blaine Boakhurst.
Oh, Blaney. Cameron Paulson. Oh, golly, gosh, don't do
What were we doing, Patto? What were we doing? Why were we rocking up, honestly? Oh,
you know, I don't know why I thought about this the other day. But COVID 2020, Carlton v Collingwood, when Cameron Paulson played at the half back.
Oh, that's right.
I don't know why it came to my mind. I'm like,
yeah. Remember, everyone's like, Teague's got the master stroke. We're putting Paulson half back. He's going to be like our Caleb Daniel.
Oh,
lasted one game.
Yeah, one game, and then I think he got sacked that year. That's so funny. Oh, I mean, I hope Cameron Paulson's doing well. He obviously was.
He's the captain of Werribee VFL.
Is he really?
No, Williamstown.
Wow.
Yeah, he's been the captain for the last 3 years. Yep, since he got the boot from Tiggy.
Well, it shows how much leadership he had then.
He was supposed to be the next captain of the club.
and then he saw big Paddy Cripps coming. He was like, "Oh, it's probably best I'll leave it. To Williamstown, mate." But once again, it's a absolute blast to review a win with you, Daffy Boy. But before we wrap up the episode, is there anything else you would like to touch on before we head into our preview episode next week against the Saints, which could be our final game of the year, final preview of the year, but let's hope it's not. Is there anything else you want to say?
Yeah, no, a really good win. We should be happy about it. Doesn't matter about the opponent. We just needed to get a win where we got our identity back. And I think we've both I think we've definitely agreed on that point in terms of we got our identity back, the Carlton identity, the Baggers identity, back in the system. And obviously next week, there's something about that team. I just hate playing them. The feeling of losing to them when they've got nothing on the line is just going to infuriate me. But just get down there because it's our home game, which I'm happy about too. I'm happy about it. Let's outnumber them. Outnumber the fuck out of them. I want a full Carlton crowd. I want people getting into them. We're going for finals here. This season is not over. whether you can't, like you said, this is the year where you probably can win it from outside the top four. It's tough. It is bloody tough. And last year proved it. We had a fantastic run where we almost probably should have won the bloody prelim final based on how we started that game. Shows you how bloody hard it is to get from outside the top four. Even inside the top four, it's hard. Melbourne's been in the top four the last 2 years in straight sets.
Mm.
People bag them for it, but it's like it shows you like you got to be on at the right time. If we're on at the right time, which is hopefully if we get a win this week, Patto, we've had multiple chances to get our season back on track, and today was our last chance to almost get a block of games. I know it's a block, it's two, which would be the St Kilda game, but at least it's something to kind of build into. So let's make it hostile next week. I think it's a members thank you round. So or some sort of kind of thing to distract the fans again. But no, I don't mind that. I don't mind it. Thank the members because we fucking deserve. They should have a members thanks round every week. To be honest with you, but I think we're wearing a special Guernsey too. It's going to have the names of every member on the jumper. So yeah, I saw it on a Facebook post before, and I've got the jerseys. So check probably the socials tomorrow. I'll be doing a post on it. So get around to Marvel Stadium. Let's bury these bastards. Bury these bastards. They've got nothing to play for. Like they usually do. Get it done. I don't want to rely on that 6-10 Optus game. If I'm sitting there watching Freo Port Adelaide and watch Port Adelaide butcher the footy, because I got a feeling Freo will somehow pull out a win in that game. And I will laugh if we win and then they win. It'll just be funny because it'll just be turn into the biggest dead rubber. But Port Adelaide have got something to play for too, which is good. Because if they didn't, I'd be a bit like, ugh. Like if they locked in top two and they, that week, like us last year, we pretty much let the fucking Giants beat us last year, didn't we? And we were like, oh fuck, what are we doing? But it kind of helped us build into the final series. But yeah, good to hop on the episode, Patto.
Yeah. I just can't wait for this Sunday when I can be searching in Gate 3, be like, where's my Mitch McGovern bobblehead, mate?
If we make the finals, I'll make a Mitch McGovern bobblehead.
Oh, actually, speaking of a bobblehead, it's a little bit demented at the moment, but Eddie Betts lost his he lost his head, I think, and also an arm. No, both of you know.
Jesus Christ.
So that I've been
hey? Worse for wear, Eddie.
But when I was moving into this house, I was like, and then where's the Eddie Betts and then I checked in the box, I'm like, oh fuck. So, I mean, I got it. I'm like, probably should get another Mitch McGovern bobblehead, mate, from Gate 3 next week. But yeah, that's funny about the membership round. I didn't know that there was a jumper that was being worn. That's unbelievable. And as you said, it's a bit unusual that they have one round at the end of the year. And it kind of seems like they're saying it as in like it's our last game of the season.
Oh, yeah. They did it last year too when we made the 8. They did it. The Giants game was a member thank you.
Really?
Yeah, it was. Because I remember outside there was like they handed out these like freebies and stuff. Like we got this pack or something. I don't know what it was. So they gave us something, and I remember having it in my hand, and it was some thank you. I don't know, whatever. Thank you for being the most loyal supporters, even though we've sucked ass for 20 years.
But also looking at the round next week, I mean Sunday, that's a ripper of a day because obviously it's Western Bulldogs Giants, and that has a lot to play for as well. And if the Lions somehow drop a game to Essendon, that then opens up an avenue for Western Bulldogs to go above them. But also, if the Giants beat the Dogs, it opens up an avenue for us as well.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, Hawthorn are playing North Melbourne, and you would expect them to go 5th, but we can still get a home elimination final.
Yeah,
seriously,
I think it's just in our hands. That's my thinking. You just got to focus on how we do it. Obviously, you're going to be watching other results. Like you said, it's an intriguing round. But if we're being serious about ourselves, if we don't lock it up, if we don't win, and we're relying on fucking Port Adelaide to win, I don't want to be crawling over the line. So I think we're going to be ready for a clash. It's going to be on, I reckon, on Sunday. I just got a feeling like I was at the game yesterday for work, and the Saints just have something about them last month. But they are one of those teams to shit the bed occasionally. So hopefully they just put the cue in the rack and go, will give you the win, and then Big Doogie Howard can join the Blues next year.
Wait, that's a conversation. come draft talk. Trade talk definitely. But So I mean, obviously that's an unbelievable Sunday of football, because obviously West Bulldogs, Giants, Carlton, St Kilda, and then obviously, as you said, Fremantle and the Port Adelaide Power to finish the AFL season, home and away season. But Duff, so much better to jump me on weird. I've said it a few times, but it is so much better doing a review. And something that's a little bit different this week. We actually played a little bit better. We coming off a win. We can actually finally talk about something that's a little bit different rather than the past 6 weeks where we've just been saying the same old shit every single week. Why is this happening? Why is this happening every single week? But finally we can come on this episode and talk about something a little bit different. But to every single blue bagger out there, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe if you do enjoy our content. It doesn't cost you anything on YouTube to press the subscribe button, so make sure to press subscribe on YouTube. But also on our podcast platforms, make sure to get around those. They are just audio versions of the podcast. So if you do want to go on a walk, or if you're going on a drive somewhere and you want to put the big Daf and the big Patto for an episode, it's totally up to you. But make sure to get around those. But also make sure to get around our social platforms as well. Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, Twitter as well. There's a few others, Daffy boy. But to you, Daffy boy, it's every single blue bagger out there.
The baggers.